We've determined our final four for the Coors Lake Truck Series. We've determined our final four for the Pizza Deck Series, and it is now time to determine the final four that will compete at Homestead next week for the Season 7 Hersheys Cup Series Championship. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here as we get ready for our third elimination race of the season, race number 3 of round 3, where we will be whittling down the field from 8 to 4 drivers competing for the championship next week. Now, coming into this race, if you look at the right side of your screen, after good runs in the last 2 weeks, both at Lime Rock and Texas, Keith Batson comes into this race with a 38-point lead over the cut line driver, which right now it's a tie between K Shearer and Cole Baker. So right now, based off the point standings, if he finishes even just in the top 30, Keith Batson is going to be one of those drivers that will battle for the championship next week at Homestead. It's been a career year for the driver of the 39. Now, J Baskinger comes into this race 24 points ahead of the cut line. So for Baskinger, he just needs to finish this race somewhere inside of the top 20, and he automatically is into the round of 4. But from there on down, it gets a little bit interesting. K Mathews, he's third in points, only 2 points ahead of the cut line. We've got that tie for the cut line spot between K Shearer and Cole Baker. Dylan Young right there in 6th. He's only 3 points behind the cut line. And even drivers like Anthony McCrury and Jessica Shelton, they're not out of it yet. Anthony McCurry's only 14 points behind the cut line, and Jessica Shelton's only 18 points behind the cut line. Points deficits that can easily be made up in one race. We'll see what they can do in 50 laps of racing here at Rockingham, as you've got Dylan Young lining up alongside of J Sandfer on this front row, so he'll be the highest starting chaser. Let's get the command real quick.
Drivers, start your engines!
And right behind him in third is Cole Baker, so those two are going to kindle the battle for a spot in the final 4 as soon as the drop of the green flag. But J Sandfer starts on the pole position for this race. He's the only driver out of Retro Racing Enterprises that hasn't won yet this season, and usually this team gets really hot near the close of a year, so we'll see if maybe he can get his first win of the season here today at The Rock. 50 laps of racing. We'll be seeing these drivers having to come to pit road at least once here today. But our last 2 races here this weekend, the Coors Lake Truck Series, Pizza Deck Series, even though it's been really wild and a lot of fun to see who gets into the final 4, they have been, let's call them wreckfests. That's exactly what they were. Will we see a green flag race here at Rockingham here today? I'm hoping so, but I don't have my fingers crossed because I kind of feel that's not going to be the case. But here we go. Chase race number 9, ready to be run here. We're determining our final 4. Let's roll! Got a car in the wall back there. Dougie Shears in the 07. What we got to avoid is them going 3 wide out of turn 2. That's what's brought out the majority of our cautions here this weekend. And Dylan Young with a power move around the outside is going to take the lead from J Sandfer. And I believe the caution may be out. Maybe not. Well, I can't tell. Maybe the green lights are still on. Maybe I thought I saw yellow. We'll know when we come off turn 4 here if the red lights are on pit road, and they are. So the caution is out. Looks like an incident out of turn 4. And this may not be such a bad caution to see because now they'll get themselves lined up single file, and we may not be as anxious to go 3 wide through a corner since we started this race double wide. But the question is, did any of our playoff contenders get involved? Dylan Poteet in the 31, been having such a good second half of the season. He's involved. R Reynolds, who got last year's Rookie of the Year, he's involved as well in the 97. Former playoff contender J Cittadino back here, looks like he might have been in it. And Jessica Shelton, a lot rides on this race of her making it into the final 4. She's at the tail end of the field. I don't know if she got a piece of the wreck or not. And the leaders are hitting pit road, and this does not put them in their fuel window, I don't think. So this is very interesting that they would decide to come to pit road this early. Looks like it's a gas and go for the driver of the Deuce. Dylan Young down and away. We'll see if he's going to be able to keep the race lead. He was the leader when he came to pit road. And it looks like he might come out with the lead. Yeah, he will. J Sandfer is actually taking tires. It was a gas and go for the 2. Sandfer's giving up valuable track position as he's actually going to take some tires there. Look like 4 tires stop. Dylan Young and Cole Baker are going to come out P1 and 2, and a couple of our other playoff contenders are going to be up in the top 10 now. K Shearer came out 4th. Kyle Mathews came out in 6th. So feeling the urgency here in this elimination race at Rockingham. Let's go back and take a look at a replay. What brought out the first caution out of turn 4? Look top of your screen, the 31 of Dylan Poteet way out of the groove. Jordan Lopez down the bottom, Tim Walsh in the middle. And I believe it's the 31 of Poteet going to get the wall off the corner that's going to start this wreck. Yep, right there. Going to hit the safer barrier. The car juts to the left, down into the Toyota of R Reynolds. And the two of them are going to go around for a spin. The question is, did Jessica Shelton get involved? And right there, a little contact with the left front of the Mountain Dew Spiked Chevy Camaro. So she did get some contact. We're going to have to see how that affects her speed-wise. Don't know how significant the contact was, but that spin is what brought the caution out. I'm being told we had an incident on pit road, so let's go back and look and see what that was. And it's going to involve Joshua Osborne, and why it's important it involves him is because he came into this race only 1 point back from Scott Roush for the battle in the rookie point standings. These two have been mixing it up last couple of weeks. Let's see what happens to him. He's going to pull into the attention of his crew. Shane Lake just ahead of him. I'm being told that the 8 of Chris Dodd was also involved, our Lime Rock race winner. There's Griffin Lynn making only his second Hersheys Cup Series start there in the 98. Made his debut last week at Texas. He almost, I think he might have almost missed his pit stall. I don't think he knew where he was supposed to go. Now there's the 8 coming top of your screen of Chris Dodd. He's going to pull in to the attention of his crew in the pit box, I believe, just between Kyle Keith and Joshua Osborne. There's also some right side damage there, and J Baskinger, I think he might have gotten the wall off turn 2. Oh no, okay, because Chris Dodd's is right in front of Joshua Osborne's. Osborne's going to leave. Chris Dodd wants to come into his pit stall. He's trying to give room, but he's got to get into the attention of his crew, and the two of them are going to make contact on pit lane. Oh dear, and I think, is Levi McIntyre going to get a piece of this now as well as an innocent bystander? Yep, he is. And the 27, oh no, don't tell me the 8's going to teleport, isn't he? Oh, there's contact back there between Reynolds and Baskinger as well. You wouldn't think this would be such a congested pit road, but obviously it is. And one of these cars is going to teleport, either the 27 or the 8. I have the feeling. As they're still sitting there and nothing going on. Let's go a little bit faster here. See, oh yeah, there it is right there. Chris Dodd's going to teleport to his pit stall, and he's going to get a lot of front-end damage because of that, and Joshua Osborne now with damage as well. Both those drivers might find themselves trapped a lap down, which I don't like the sound of. When we had lap traffic in yesterday's Pizza Deck Series race, we had caution after caution after caution, so we'll see what happens. Well, the light should go out atop the pace car. We should be going back green on lap 7 of 50. Dylan Young with the gas and go strategy keeps the race lead, so he'll restart over Cole Baker. Baker came into this race the cut line driver, and Dylan Young came into this race 3 points behind the cut line. K Shearer, who also came in, tied with Baker for the cut line spot. He's in 4th, so really a lot of contesting going on up here. Kyle Mathews, who came in only 2 points ahead of the cut line, he's up in the 6th position. So it's making it very interesting here for drivers fighting their way into the Final 4. After the wreck, nobody out of the race, but they have Osborne, Chris Dodd, and R Reynolds all scored off the lead lap. I think a couple of them have returned back to the track, and so that means they will restart on the inside line, which I don't much like the sound of. When they start double wide, they get anxious to go 3 wide. 3 wide is what causes the wrecks off 2 and 4. I'd like to see this race get some nice green flag runs in, but we'll see what happens here as the green flag will come back out. Dylan Young over Cole Baker. 4-time winner last year, Benny Watson up in the 3rd spot. Then Shearer, Srigley, Mathews, McIntosh, Smart, Davis, and our pole sitter Sandfer completed your top 10. There's Chris Dodd leaving pit road off the pace, no hood. Can merge back up into traffic there too. That's a little dangerous. Let's see where the rest of our playoff contenders restarted this race. Anthony McCrury back in 19th, Baskinger back in 20th. Keith Batson back in 24th. That's all he really needs to be running in order to make it into the Final Four. So we got Joshua Osborne up ahead to deal with. Jessica Shelton back in 37th. It's not what she needs to get into the Final Four. Dylan Young out in front here. Now, why did he want that track position to stay? Well, bear in mind, with him coming into this race only 3 points behind the cut line, right now he is the only playoff driver that has led a lap, so he's gotten that bonus point. If he stays out and leads the most laps, that's another bonus point. So I think he's definitely looking at the bonus points to make his way into the Final Four, which would be for the second time in his career. He made the Final Four, competing for the championship back in Season 5. But now Benny Watson has worked his way by Cole Baker for second. So now Watson on the charge of the 2-car. Looked back at the drivers coming into this race that have formerly won at this track. Emmanuel Hartnett, the inaugural winner of this race back in Season 1. Jake Baskinger, who's trying to make his way into the Final Four, won here in Season 2. James Richardson won here in Season 3. Johnny Gardner, who got eliminated from the playoffs after Round 2, he won here in Season 4. Season 5, another driver that's battling for a spot in the Final Four, Anthony McCrury. And the defending winner of this race, the Season 5 Hersheys Cup Series champion, Trent Dunham. Go back here. This is a good battle with Baker and Mathews, because Mathews is trying to keep the 18 at least within close proximity. Mathews came into this race in one of the Final Four positions. Cole Baker only 2 points behind him, so if Mathews can at least keep himself right behind Baker, that's what he needs to do. He has to make sure that Baker does not get at least 3 positions ahead of him, because then Baker would be in and Mathews would be out. Good news for Mathews right now, though, is he's also running ahead of K Shearer, who came in tied with Baker for that 4th position in the standings. So right now, I think Kyle's just got to keep himself in close proximity with the 18 and keep himself ahead of the 80. We should also bear in mind here, though, too, because during this round of the playoffs, we have had 2 races, and both races have been won by non-playoff drivers. Our winner at Lime Rock, of course, Chris Dodd, and last week's winner at Texas was, of course, J Bryant. So, with that being said, nobody is locked into the Final Four. If Dylan Young wins, then he's locked into the Final Four. He would leapfrog drivers ahead of him in points like Baker, like Shearer, like Mathews, and it would basically turn into Shearer, Mathews, and Baker battling for that 4th and final spot in the playoffs. So that's what makes this battle even more important. Mathews managed to get 3rd place. Baker now back to 4th with Jordan Anderson, his teammate, there in 5th. So right now, Mathews would be in the 4th position. Right now, your playoffs would look like Keith Batson, Jake Baskinger, Dylan Young, and Kyle Mathews, which is kind of ironic because in our Pizza Hut X Series Final Four, it's 2 Fords, 2 Chevys. Right now, our Hersheys Cup Series Final Four would be 2 Fords and 2 Chevrolets. Dylan Young putting on a blistering pace right now, getting around Joshua Osborne, putting him a lap down. Benny Watson trying to run down Dylan Young now has to deal with the rookie, and he will clear him for the position. Next car they'll have to deal with, the 55 of Shane Lake. Battle on for 4th. Kyle Mathews under fire from Jordan Anderson. Cody Smart right there as well in the 5th position. So Mathews trying to get himself up towards the front, but his main goal right now is to stay ahead of the 18 and the 80. He also needs to make sure that the 61 and the 02 do not get up here. Right now, Anthony McCrury and Jessica Shelton appear to be struggling. Shelton has fought her way at least up a bit in the field. There she is. Last time by scored in 21st, just ahead of her teammate, the pole sitter Charles Sandfer. Anthony McCrury, on the other hand, is really struggling. He's back now in 31st. This has been anything but a championship-looking season for the driver who took the championship in this series back in Season 1. Jake Baskinger right now scored in the 23rd position. He has to just finish in the top 20, and he'll make it into the Final Four, coming into this race 24 points ahead of the cut line. Right now he is just outside the top 20, so he's in good shape. And Keith Batson, he only really needed to finish this race inside the top 25, and he's up in the 13th position. Remember, if any of our playoff contenders win this race, they head into Homestead Miami Speedway with a 3-point bonus point advantage. Keith Batson realizing that his 2 wins this season have taken place during the playoffs. Cole Baker kicked on the high side. Up the 7th, Trent Dunham, the defending winner of this race, trying to get Dodge their 2nd win of the season, the only win so far. Dallas McIntosh's win at Thornton. Battle for 2nd, Kyle Mathews bypassing Benny Watson. So we've got playoff contenders now, P1 and P2, albeit both of them separated by about a 2nd and 2/10. And Jordan Anderson, former Pizza Deck Series champ, still looking for his first Hersheys Cup Series win, and he's now going to try and go for 2nd place on Kyle Mathews. They can all see the 2 of Dylan Young just up ahead, but as they continue to battle for the runner-up spot, they're going to be losing a little bit of ground to him, as Dylan Young, he's just out there running Q laps. Now, the interesting thing for me is we saw some drivers like Charles Sandfer and others take 4 tires when they were on pit road. Dylan Young and others, they went with the fuel-only strategy. Did they get that car completely full of fuel, though, is the question, because we may end up seeing Dylan Young have to pit road sooner than drivers like Charles Sandfer. They will have to come to pit road before this race is over. That pit stop they made back on, I think it was lap 3 or 4, that's not going to put them in their fuel window to make it the rest of the way. They are going to have to pit at least one more time, and with this thing spreading out, looks like it will be under green flag conditions. Jordan Anderson into 2nd now. He's running down Dylan Young for the top position, so don't look now. Anderson trying to get his first career win. We saw last week J Bryant break a winless streak. Well, it's been a winless streak for Jordan Anderson ever since moving up to the Cup Series last season. Not yet found victory lane, and what a beautiful pass for the race lead on Dylan Young. And Dylan Young's troubles may not be over, because here comes Kyle Mathews with a full head of steam in the 09. Sounds like traffic to deal with up ahead. That's Shane Lake, the 55, R Reynolds in the 97, 39th and 40th, the last 2 cars on the lead lap. They're heading into turn 1. Now the leader, Jordan Anderson, doing the same. Anderson and Shane Lake were actually teammates last year for the first half of the season, so we'll see if the 55 puts up a fight against the 89. This battle for 2nd, though, between a couple playoff drivers, Kyle Mathews and Dylan Young. Now, right now, where they're both running, they would be in the final 4, because Cole Baker has faded out of the top 10. K Shearer has faded out of the top 10. And Keith Batson continues to work his way through the field. He's up to 10th, is the 39. A driver who just needed a consistent run to make it into the final 4, but they say so many times you need good momentum heading into the finale, and I guess Keith Batson feels that more than anybody, as he's now trying to fight his way up here, trying to get his 3rd win of the season. We've got a number of drivers that have gone to victory lane twice this year, including Batson, Baskinger, the car we're looking at right now, Kyle Mathews, J Arndt, Levi McIntyre. They've all gone to victory lane twice this year. No one has yet gone to victory lane 3 times this season, and with only 2 races remaining, the likelihood of that looking very slim. Although Mathews up here in 3rd, got a fast car. I don't know if he's got a fast enough car to catch Jordan Anderson, though, who has gapped this 2nd place battle by 2 seconds now. And he's about to deal with drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. How about a shout out to Holly Davis? Great run there for the 3. Davis comes into this race 3rd in the rookie point standings, 9 points back from the points lead. Basically need to be within 5 points to have a shot at battling for the rookie points honor next week at Homestead, but looks like she's having a consistent run, and looks like she's going to finish out the season pretty well, filling in that 3 car for the former champion Brooke Allen. And Cody Smart, who got eliminated from the playoffs last round. Good run for him here today, up inside the 6th position. Got his first career win. It's obviously been a career year for him. And yeah, he got eliminated from the playoffs, but this team's still looking to try and find victory lane yet again this year. Trent Dunham in 7th. He's about to be under fire from 8th, 9th, and 10th. That's Gonzales, our Indianapolis race winner. J McCloud, who's riding a long winless streak. And the points leader, Keith Batson, there in the 39. Look back here, and there's a driver that's making her way up towards the front, at least up towards the top 10. Shelton up to 14th. She needs a lot more help than that. She came into this race 18 points behind K Shearer and Cole Baker. And other drivers like Kyle Mathews and Dylan Young are running up ahead of her. So she needs a lot more help with drivers having some difficulties here. And now she gets kicked up to the high side, going to lose a spot to Daniel Voyles. Saw last week Griffin Lynn make his rookie debut at Texas. Finished out that race, I believe it was in the 16th position. Only his second start, and he's again up inside the top 20, putting together some very consistent runs. Work his way around rookie Joshua Osborne, following in the tire tracks of the 59 of Zachary Fitzwater. Are we under caution? We are! Oh, wow! Pits will be open too, I think. And they are. Okay, so this is going to allow them to all make it on fuel. So this is the money stop. I didn't even see that the yellow lights were on, and I don't even really know what brought this caution out. Looks like there was another wreck down here out of turn 4. Well, Shane Lake and R.J. Reynolds got trapped a lap down. Jordan Anderson had them between himself and Dylan Young. And now everybody's going with a 4-tire stop after that long green flag run. So can Jordan Anderson win the battle off pit road? Something tells me he probably will. Dylan Young's got the number 2 pit stall after qualifying second. And now he's coming off pit road way behind the 89. Doesn't look like anybody's going to get Anderson coming off of pit lane. Jordan Anderson will win the battle off pit road. Dylan Young will come out in second. Mathews in third. Watson fourth. And it looks like Cody Smart's going to pick up a couple spots on pit lane. So he'll be fifth with Holly Davis, Trent Dunham. It's like McCloud, Shears, and Batson going to be your top 10. When we go back green, lap cars now hitting pit road. Let's see what brought out the caution. JT Bryant's coming to pit road, and I think maybe he might have brought out this yellow flag. Last week's winner from Texas. Well, K Shearer's win at Talladega moved him into the round of 8, but it looks like he may not make it into the round of 4. This was a battle here for the 29th position, and boy, I don't even really know what to say on that one. D Poteet all over the right rear quarter panel of the 80. I don't know if Kev brake checked him or what. Whatever the case, it loops the 80 around into the wall, and K Shearer now finds himself with damage and way back in the field. So K Shearer, who came in tied for the cut line position in the points, we saw he had faded back, and this is going to hurt his chances even more here today at Rockingham. Well, the lights are out atop the pace car, and Jordan Anderson's not letting Shane Lake get down the inside line, and Shane Lake's not letting Jordan Anderson get up to the outside line. This is interesting. Well, this is going to be a doozy of a restart, I guess, as it'll be Anderson the leader, Dylan Young second, Kyle Mathews third, then Watson and Smart, that's your top 5, then Davis, Dunham, McCloud, Shears, and Batson your top 10. And I don't like the way that this restart's going to look. Oh my goodness. What are these two doing? Green flags in the air. Look at Dylan Young. He's going to try and go around the outside of both of them for the race lead. And I think it might work. No, Anderson's going to keep the spot. Dylan Young's going to have to tuck in line in second. But boy, that made things congested. And they're going to wreck. And there goes Chris Dodd around in front of the field. I knew that was going to happen. That was Cody Smart that I think spun the 8 around. That was right up inside of the top 10. Caution waves. And now the question is, were any of our playoff drivers involved in that one? Cody Lamas. He was involved there in the 48. Gallighan was in it. And there goes the end of the championship hopes for Anthony McCrury. Looks like K Shearer may have also gotten a piece of this one. So that's his championship hopes pretty much down the drain. J Cittadino's got damage. J Arndt, 2-time winner, he was involved as well. Caution will wave for only the 3rd time today, but this one probably spelling the end of the championship hopes of a number of drivers. You saw Jessica Shelton now up inside of the top 10, up in 9th. hoping maybe other playoff contenders have some problems. She'll now pass Anthony McCrury in points. She'll pass K Shearer in points, but she still needs to pass another 2 drivers in the standings. As Jordan Anderson will lead us under our 3rd caution of the day. Hopefully this time he'll let the lap traffic in. Although I think we will be restarted with less than 10 to go, so we won't have the lap traffic on the inside line. For now, let's go back and see what happened on the backstretch. Coming out of turn 2, they were 3 wide, about 3 rows deep there. So you knew something was going to happen. I think the 12 of Cody Smart's going to be the one that brushes the wall off of turn 2. As he comes back off, he's going to get Chris Dodd in the right rear quarter panel. Sends him up the track, both cars into the wall. Contact into the passenger side door of Trent Dunham's Dodge. Holly Davis going to get held up there in the 3. And then you watch further back here as everybody's trying to scatter high and low to avoid. There's Gonzales, Gallighan, John Arndt. Cody Lamas going to get involved right there. Oh my goodness, Cody! Whoa! He hit that area where the safer barrier juts out. Landed on top of both Anthony McCrury and I believe Benjamin Miles, his teammate. And I think he got Tim Walsh as well. Whoa, that was a wild ride. Let's see if we can get another camera angle of that. Let's go to our TV2 camera. And there's a spot where the safer barrier juts out. And Cody was trying to go up high to avoid the wreck. And he just stays up against the wall, and he's going to get where that safer barrier juts out. Watch right on the left side of your screen. Right there. The right front catches it. Shoots the car in the air on top of Tim Walsh, up on top of McCrury. Sends the car over, and he's going to then land also right there on top of teammate Benjamin Miles. That is a scary wreck, and we saw that happen in the Coors Light Truck Series race here 2 days ago as well. So that takes out McCrury from the championship. I don't think K Shearer got involved in this wreck. I think he got around it, but we saw he has quite a bit of damage and is quite a ways back in the field, so he's going to have to pray for a miracle. But a big wreck, actually a little wreck, turns into a big wreck from turn 2 down into the entrance of turn 3. Lights out atop the pace car will restart with 9 laps to go. And it will be a single file restart, so lap traffic will intermingle with the lead lap cars. John Arndt, Anthony McCrury, and Tim Walsh out of the race, so McCrury's championship hopes are gone. JT Bryant, R Reynolds, Joshua Osborne, Shane Lake, Chris Dodd, they're all off the lead lap. 34 cars on the lead lap of 39 still running. Jordan Anderson will be the leader when we go back green. Where are your playoff contenders that remain? Those 7 are Dylan Young restarting 2nd, Keith Batson 7th, Kyle Mathews 6th, Shelton in 9th. Cole Baker now back in 20th. J Baskinger in 26th. And K Shearer is currently last car on the lead lap in 34th. Green flag just went back in the air. Jordan Anderson trying to hold off Dylan Young. Way they run right now. Batson would be into the Final Four. Baskinger would be into the Final Four. And I believe the last 2 spots would go to Dylan Young and Kyle Mathews. Mathews up on the high side, lost some spots, but now he's back in the 6th position. Don't like the way it looks back here. They were 3 wide for a brief moment, settled it back out to double wide. Trent Dunham trying to fight off Daniel Gilbert. They're 3 wide further back there. Griffin Lynn may have brushed the wall. There's Shelton fighting for all she's worth, trying to pick up spots. She's ahead of Cole Baker, but only by 1 position, and she came into this race 18 points behind him. So, a spot in the championship 4 slipping away from the 0-2. Don't look now, we may have a battle for the lead here. Dylan Young running down Jordan Anderson, and at the same time, J McCloud's moved up to 3rd, bypassing last week's winner J Bryant, and he might be running down the top 2. 6 laps to go here at Rockingham. Anderson looking for career win number 1. Dylan Young looking for his 2nd win this year. And J McCloud looking to end what's been a very long winless streak. Dylan Young also trying to not only win the race, but have 3 bonus points over the rest of his competitors heading into next week at Homestead, Miami, which is kind of considered a home track for him. Dylan Young, a Florida native. Going to lose some ground there as here comes the outside groove of J McCloud through turns 1 and 2. Going to try and reel in Dylan Young for that spot. A lot of drivers migrate down to the bottom on the exit of turn 2, and that loses them quite a bit of momentum as Anderson's going to see 4 laps to go. Battle will now be for second between Dylan Young and J McCloud. They're only about 7/10 of a second back from the 89, and that time Dylan Young got the better corner exit. He's going to try and reel in the 89 once again. McCloud in third. Then you got the lap car of JT Bryant before you get to fourth place Benny Watson. Bryant up to speed. Not sure how he got trapped a lap down, but not going to finish out today's race nearly as well as he did 1 week ago, taking the checkers at Texas. Dylan Young trying to peek to the inside there out of turn 2 as he is right within striking distance of Jordan Anderson. Mathews still there in 6th. Still trying to hang on to a spot as Dylan Young thinks about going around the outside of Jordan Anderson for the race lead. Not able to get the exit off of turn 2 there. Here comes McCloud now for second place. Next time by, we will see the white flag. Can McCloud clear Dylan Young quickly? If he can, he might have a shot to get up there to Jordan Anderson, but they'll remain side by side off of turn 4. That might seal the deal, and Jordan Anderson might be en route to his first career win. 35th in the points coming to this race. Only 1 top 5, 3 top 10 so far this year for the former Pizza Hut X Series champion. And Jordan Anderson, as they continue side by side behind him for second, will head through turns 3 and 4. Jordan Anderson is going to get his first career win in the Hersheys Cup Series here today at The Rock. McCloud will get the second position from Dylan Young. That's his best finish of the year. And Dylan Young with a third place performance will be into the Final Four, and Kyle Mathews finishing in 7th also will be in the Final Four to compete for the championship. Batson, he finished 13th. That's all he needed to make it into the Final Four. Baskinger finished 19th. So it looks like our Final Four competitors will be Batson, Baskinger, Mathews, and Young heading into Homestead, Miami. Only one of those drivers, a former Hersheys Cup Series champion, Kyle Mathews from Season 3. It's almost kind of like deja vu from yesterday's Pizza Hut X Series race. In yesterday's Pizza Hut X Series race, 4 of our competitors, 2 of them Fords, 2 of them Chevys, and 1 of them a former champion, that being Elijah Gilbert. And our Final 4 here for the Hersheys Cup Series, 2 of them Fords, 2 of them Chevys, 1 of them a former champion in Kyle Mathews. But Anderson, first career win, and it takes place here today at Rockingham. McCloud, so close there, but he got second. Dylan Young, great run that he needed to get into the Final Four for only the second time in his career. He finishes third. Benny Watson, he keeps getting close to a win, but he just finishes in the top 5 every week, it seems. He's going to get 4th. And how about Dougie Shears? That team's actually been really good last couple of weeks. Dougie Shears and that 07 team, they're going to get another top 5 in 5th. Daniel Gilbert brings it home in 6th, so a couple of the Michael Norm Motorsports cars with good runs. Kyle Mathews 7th, that's all he needed to get into the Final Four. Trent Dunham, former winner here, is going to bring it home with a solid run in 8th. Scott Roush going to get Rookie of the Race in 9th, so that might ice him getting Rookie of the Year honors this season, as he's going to definitely gap himself back to Joshua Osborne, who I believe finished the last rookie in this race. So that's going to definitely help Scott Roush next week at Homestead. And Johnny Gardner, another former winner at this track, is going to bring it home in the 10th position. Cole Baker, he needed to keep Dylan Young and Kyle Mathews at bay, was unsuccessful. Finishes this race in 11th, so I think he's just barely going to miss out on making it into the playoffs. Final Four, Levi McIntyre brings it home in 12th place. Bear in mind, Levi got some damage on pit road after that first caution. Keith Batson, he didn't need to finish 13th. He only needed to finish around 30th, but he still finished with a good run in the 13th spot inside the top 15. Fitzwater and Daniel Voyles completed your top 15. Brandon Gonzales in 16th. He had damage from an earlier wreck. And how about Griffin Lynn? Second race, second top 20 in the 17th position. Jessica Shelton needed a lot more than 18th, but she finishes in the top 20. Baskinger, all he needed was a top 20 finish. He got it, 19th, so he's going to be battling for the championship next week. And then Chris Dollerton, he's going to finish out the day in the 20th position. The drivers that hit the hardships here today, though, for your championship competitors, K Shearer came in tied for the cutoff position and 4th in the standings after the contact and damage he got, finished 34th, so he will not compete for the championship, nor will the former champion from Season 1, Anthony McCrury, finishing out of the race in the 41st position, one of 3 drivers that did not finish out the completion of this race, along with J Arndt and T Walch. So if my calculations are correct, which I'm pretty sure they are, it is going to be Baskinger, Mathews, Batson, and Young that will battle for the championship. And how ironic it is, go back to Season 3. When Kyle Mathews won the championship, he won it by 3 points over guess who? J Baskinger. Those two going to rekindle their Season 3 battle here in Season 7. Keith Batson having a career year. He'd love to cap it off with a championship. And Dylan Young looking to get some redemption from Season 5 when he made it into the Final Four and lost out on the championship to the eventual champion Trent Dunham. So for some drivers it's redemption, for some drivers it's about retribution, for some drivers it's about finishing out the season best they can, and for Kyle Mathews it's about making history, becoming the first ever 2-time Hersheys Cup Series champion. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race though from Rockingham. At least we got in some good green flag racing, unlike our Coors Light Truck Series and Pizza Hut Series races earlier on this weekend. If you enjoyed this race, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown your full feature results. These are your rookie points, your overall points, and the 4 drivers highlighted in yellow, which I'm pretty sure are the 2, 39, 09, and 38, are going to be moving on to battle for the final 4 positions. Up next week, we finish out Season 3 of the Coors Light Truck Series, Season 5 of the Pizza Deck Series, Season 7 of the Hersheys Cup Series. We determine our champions at the season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. You're not going to want to miss it. You'll want to tune into it. Who's going to be the champions in those respective series? We'll find out as we head to our season finale at Homestead here on the NNSCRA Sports Channel, all flying racing at its best.